Hi guys, welcome back to another Semprinter TV video. In today's video, unfortunately, myself and Bilal Mirza are going to react to Inter's Europa League final loss to Sevilla. Be sure to let us know down in the comments below what you made of the match, and don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on push notifications. The final result was certainly disappointing, but Bilal, the full match wasn't disappointing. In fact, we were treated to a real spectacle in the first half, weren't we?
Hey Cammy, thank you so much for having me on. It was a fantastic end-to-end action between Inter and Sevilla in the first half. Both teams gunning it for the goals and the title. Fantastic to see for the neutral audience. Great start by Inter, getting ahead at the 5-minute mark with Lukaku converting the penalty. And at that time, Inter's side should be taking more confidence and growing into this match and taking over. But this is not an easy side to deal with. Sevilla are a resilient side, really strong throughout the pitch. And that really showed they were really strong in transitioning from defense all the way through the attack, finding the cutting runs of Suso and Ocampos on the wings and allowing the fullbacks to make overlapping runs. In particular, Jesus Navas on the right-hand side from the fullback position, connecting really well with his crosses and the pace he puts on them with accuracy. That guy needs to be closed down a lot more by Ashley Young on the right-hand side. And on the first goal that Sevilla scored, there's poor defending on our side as well. Diego Godin, letting De Jong past him way too easily. He should do better in keeping up with him and knowing that the only physical presence is coming from De Jong. He let him get past too easily, and a good header and a strong header from De Jong to equalize the goal. And on the second goal we conceded from the set piece halfway through the first half, there's absolutely no reason for Gagliardini not to be able to clear that up. De Jong got ahead of him. Gagliardini just didn't get enough height on his jump and allowed De Jong to get a strong header yet again. And that guy's been a menace. From having 1 goal scored in 11 matches to scoring 2 goals within one half is unforgivable, and we need to clean up on defense much better. However, luckily for us, Diego Godin made up for his mistake, scored the goal, tied the game up 2-2 going into the halftime.
Some really good points raised there, Bilal. As for the second half, I felt we started it very sloppily, lots of misplaced passes, and I felt that we could have done a lot more to kind of try and take control of the game. We really struggled to really control things during the first half, and I felt we just could have done so much more to try and take control, which was something that we really needed to do. The press, I felt, really lacked. I felt that we were giving Sevilla far too much time on the ball, and this ultimately meant that they weren't really making mistakes. They had so much time to think about each and every move, and yeah, it was, what can you say, it's a really difficult one to try and comment on. This is not how anyone wanted this match to go. We were all hoping that we could finally win another piece of silverware after such a long time without, but it just wasn't to be. Romelu Lukaku had the first kind of big chance of the second half, and unfortunately the ball kind of bobbled just before he went to kick it, and how much of a kind of impact this had on his shot being saved by Bono, I'm not too sure, and I guess we'll never really know. We really didn't create much whatsoever. That was really our only real chance. We had a kind of goal line scramble later on in the match, and Candreva also had an effort once he came off the substitutes bench, but unfortunately for us, Romelu Lukaku did score again, but it was not in the right goal. Diego Carlos, who gave away the penalty that we got in the first half, overhead kicked it, and Lukaku stuck out his leg and unfortunately directed it past Sami Handanovic and into the net. Now, looking at the replays, I mean, I think it was going to go wide, but at the same time, I can understand why Lukaku was wanting to stick his foot out. He couldn't have known that for certain, and I think he would have certainly found himself in a really tricky position. He had to do something. Unfortunately, on this occasion, it was the wrong decision. As I said, this was not the way anyone wanted this season to finish. It's a really kind of sore note given how we kind of recovered near the end, mounted that title challenge and finished so close to becoming champions, and then the kind of run that we had in the Europa League, it was all looking really good, but it's all just kind of fallen a bit flat. There's a lot of disappointment, and yeah, just a really kind of sad and disappointing way to end the season. Moving on to the top and flop section for the week. The top for this video, not that there was many, for me would probably be the way that we reacted after going 2-1 behind. Now, we've seen all too often with Inter this season and in recent seasons that we just collapse and the heads go down when we typically go behind or blow a lead. This wasn't quite like that. We did manage to get another goal just before half time through Diego Godin, and I mean, I think this will have certainly had a huge boost for the team heading into that second half. Unfortunately though, it didn't kind of have that desired effect. It didn't really spur us on to a victory. What did you think the flop was then for the match, Bilal?
For me, the flop of the match has to be Antonio Conte. Unfortunately, the choices he made in the second half of not making substitutions when there was a clear need to make a bunch of changes to take the game over and try to get this go-ahead goal. He did not make them in time, and he waited as usual, right? Like we've said all year long, when the games that Inter struggle to come back in, it is because he waited way too long to make substitutions, and we see that substitutions make an impact, but it's too little too late, and that was the case here as well. You could see that Gagliardini's presence in the midfield was preventing Inter from creating a consistent counter-attack opportunity and connect all the way to Lukaku, who was frustrated all night long. Ultimately, a decision that Conte made to not substitute him out and bring on an Eriksen or anybody else quite literally would have done the job. Antonio Conte flop. Very, very disappointing.